Shock waves spread across global energy markets and security circles when Iran announced that it had effectively taken control of the Strait of Hormuz, the single most critical oil transit choke point on the planet. Iranian officials declared that their naval forces had asserted dominance over the waterway, warning that any foreign military presence or commercial traffic would now operate under Iranian terms. According to Iranian state media, this was not merely a show of force, but a strategic operation aimed at reshaping the balance of power in the Gulf. Within hours, dramatic reports began circulating across international media networks, with Iranian outlets claiming that fast attack boats, missile batteries, and drone surveillance systems had been deployed across key positions overlooking the strait. Iranian military commanders described the move as a decisive step to secure regional sovereignty and counter what they called foreign interference in vital maritime corridors. The announcement immediately triggered concern across oil markets, with traders reacting to the possibility of severe disruptions to global energy supplies. According to Iranian state television, the operation had been planned for months and executed with precision, allowing Iran to establish what it described as full situational control over one of the busiest shipping lanes in the world. Officials suggested that this move sends a clear message not only to the United States, but to all nations dependent on Gulf non-fit flows. Before we go deeper into what Iran claims happened during this operation, how control over the Strait of Hormuz was established, and what the United States and its allies are now saying about the situation. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you never miss the latest updates on the most dramatic geopolitical developments happening around the world. According to Iranian military officials, the operation to assert control over the Strait of Hormuz was carried out through a coordinated deployment of naval, aerial, and missile forces designed to dominate both the physical and surveillance landscape of the region. Iranian commanders stated that elite units of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Navy were mobilized, deploying fast attack craft equipped with anti-ship missiles, while coastal missile batteries were placed on high alert along strategic Nikat overlooking the narrow waterway. Iranian state media reported that unmanned aerial vehicles were launched to monitor all incoming and outgoing maritime traffic, creating what officials described as a real-time operational picture of the strait. Military spokesmen suggested that electronic warfare systems were also activated to track and potentially disrupt foreign naval communications in the area. According to these reports, the operation was executed without direct confrontation, relying instead on overwhelming presence and strategic positioning. Iran claims that this deployment effectively gives it the ability to regulate the flow of vessels passing through the strait, including oil tankers carrying millions of barrels of crude naphtha per day. Iranian officials stated that any attempt by foreign forces to challenge this control would be met with immediate and decisive action. According to Iranian state television, the operation demonstrated that Iran possesses both the capability and the resolve to influence global energy flows at will. The stated justification for this move, according to Iranian leadership, is rooted in what they describe as ongoing economic pressure and regional security threats. Iranian officials argued that foreign sanctions and military presence in the Gulf have long undermined Iran's sovereignty, and that asserting control over the Strait of Hormuz is a legitimate defensive measure. Military commanders described the operation as a strategic recalibration intended to shift leverage back toward Tehran in the broader geopolitical contest. The symbolic meaning of this move extends far beyond the immediate mological. According to Iranian analysts speaking on state television, controlling the Strait of Hormuz represents control over a vital artery of the global economy. It signals that Iran is capable of influencing not just regional dynamics, but international markets and strategic calculations. The message, as described by Iranian officials, is clear. Any attempt to isolate Iran economically could have global consequences. The importance of the Strait of Hormuz cannot be overstated. Located between the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman, this narrow stretch of water serves as the primary gateway for naphtha exports from some of the world's largest producers, including Saudi Arabia, Iraq, the UAE, and Kuwait. At its narrowest point, the strait is only about 33 kilometers wide, making it one of the most vulnerable choke points in global trade. According to international energy agencies, roughly 20% of the world's oil supply passes through the Strait of Hormuz every single day. This includes not only crude nafut, but also liquefied natural gas shipments that are critical to global energy markets. Any disruption to this flow has immediate and far-reaching consequences, impacting fuel prices, economic stability, and supply chains across continents. The waterway is heavily monitored and has long been patrolled by international naval forces, particularly the United States Fifth Fleet, which operates in the region to ensure freedom of navigation. Military analysts have long warned that the Strait of Hormuz would be Iran's most powerful leverage point in any escalation scenario. The geography of the strait makes it uniquely susceptible to asymmetric tactics, including missile strikes, naval mines, and swarm boat attacks. According to defense experts, even the perception of instability in the strait can trigger massive fluctuations in global oil prices. The mere suggestion that Iran could restrict access or threaten shipping lanes is often enough to send shockwaves through financial markets. Military analysts have long warned that the Strait of Hormuz would be Iran's first target in any escalation with Western powers, precisely because of its outsized strategic value. Before we continue with how the United States has responded to these claims and what analysts are saying about what really happened, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you never miss the latest updates on the most dramatic geopolitical developments happening around the world. Then the United States began to respond. American defense officials confirmed that Iran had significantly increased its military presence around the Strait of Hormuz. However, their description of the situation differed sharply from the Iranian narrative. According to U.S. defense officials, while Iranian vessels and missile systems had indeed been deployed, there was no evidence that Iran had established full operational control over the waterway. Pentagon sources confirmed that U.S. naval forces remain active in the region and continue to conduct patrols to ensure freedom of navigation. According to statements released by the U.S. Department of Defense, commercial shipping through the strait has not been halted, and vessels continue to transit the Molenbeek under international maritime law. Officials emphasized that the strait remains open and that any attempt to block it would be considered a serious escalation. American military spokesman suggested that Iran's claims are part of a broader information strategy aimed at projecting strength and deterring foreign presence. According to U.S. officials, the increased Iranian activity is being closely monitored, but does not currently constitute a blockade or takeover in the traditional sense. The Pentagon reiterated that U.S. and allied forces are prepared to respond to any ugrazi against international shipping. This stark difference between the two narratives immediately sparked debate across the global security community. On one side, Iran is portraying the move as a decisive assertion of control over a critical global choke point. On the other side, the United States insists that the situation remains under control and that international navigation rights are intact. Between these two accounts lies a complex and rapidly evolving reality. Military analysts immediately began assessing what this development could mean for the broader geopolitical landscape. According to regional experts, Iran's actions represent a calculated step on the escalation ladder, one that stops short of outright conflict, but significantly raises the stakes. By asserting influence over the Strait of Hormuz without directly closing it, Iran may be attempting to maximize pressure while avoiding immediate military confrontation. According to analysts speaking to international media, this move fits into a broader pattern of asymmetric strategy where Iran leverages geography and strategic positioning to counterbalance the technological superiority of Western forces. The deployment of fast boats, missile systems, and drones allows Iran to create a persistent threat environment that is difficult to neutralize without escalating into open conflict. The potential consequences extend far beyond military considerations. Global oil markets are highly sensitive to developments in the Strait of Hormuz, and even the perception of instability can drive prices upward. According to financial analysts, sustained tensions in the region could lead to increased nafut prices, impair sitting economies worldwide, and potentially triggering inflationary pressures. The competing narratives themselves are also part of the strategy. Iran benefits from projecting strength and demonstrating its ability to influence global tijarata, routes while the United States seeks to reassure markets and allies that the situation remains stable. This informazione dynamic plays a critical role in shaping international perception and response. International pressure for de-escalation is already mounting, with global powers urging restraint and dialogue. Whether diplomatic channels can contain the situation or whether further actions will push the region closer to confrontation remains uncertain. What is clear is that the Strait of Hormuz has once again become the Dead Sea of global geopolitical tension. Iran claims it has taken control of the world's most critical oil route, asserting dominance over the Strait of Hormuz and signaling its ability to influence global energy flows. The United States insists that the waterway remains open, operational, and protected under international law. Between those two narratives lies a complex reality shaped by strategy, perception, and Kolwa. Some experts warn that incidents like this can easily spiral, especially in a region already marked by deep stoicism and military tensions. Others believe that both sides may attempt to contain the escalation using controlled accompaniment to signal strength without triggering full-scale conflict. The balance between deterrence and escalation has rarely been more fragile. What is clear is that this development has already become one of the most dramatic moments in the unfolding geopolitical contest in the Middle East. The Strait of Hormuz is not just a waterway, it is a lifeline for the global economy, and any shift in its status has consequences that ripple across the world. Whether this situation stabilizes or escalates further remains uncertain. The world watches closely as military movements, political statements, and economic reactions continue to unfold in real time. Stay tuned for further updates as this developing story continues to reshape the geopolitical landscape of the region.